A Pulitzer Prize winning podcaster, a stereotypical cocky bodybuilder, the internet's weatherman, a clinical and forensic psychologist, a brilliant young elections analyst, a beloved American Airlines pilot, and a professional dumbass? Welcome to Chris Strub Unmuted. I'm Chris Strub, and today we're talking about my 7 favorite YouTubers. Selfishly, you are the product of the people that you spend the most time with. And the reality is, especially as a guy living by myself here with my dog, of course, you know, I watch a lot of YouTube. This is Chris Strub Unmuted, a show designed for open dialogue, honest reflection, and honest truths about the lives that we lead. Today, we're continuing our series of top 7s in season 7 with my top 7 favorite YouTubers. And guys, this was really, really hard to whittle down. I spend a lot of time watching and consuming YouTube. If you don't have YouTube Premium, by the way, what are you doing? I can't imagine watching ads anymore these days. And if you're watching on YouTube, hey, I appreciate you. Make sure you're subscribed. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm going to encourage you to click down into the show notes here below and do 2 things. 1, subscribe to all 7 of these channels. These guys are amazing, and I'm so grateful, and I've learned so much from watching these folks almost every single day. These are just 7 of scores, I would say, of people and brands that I follow on YouTube, and all of these folks do amazing, amazing work. And 2, I really want you to leave a comment on this video. Let me know, 1, if any of these folks really resonate with you and you're here because of them maybe. And more importantly, even, I want you to point out who your favorite YouTubers are, because there are so many great creators out there. It is quite literally impossible to know and connect with everybody. And yet I'm still going to try, right? Like, I want to find the best of the best. I want to find the most creative, the most humble, the most generous, the most interesting creators out there, and consider them part of my own tribe, right? Selfishly, you are the product of the people that you spend the most time with. And the reality is, especially as a guy living by myself here with my dog, of course, you know, I watch a lot of YouTube. And so, get out of the house, go spend time with your friends and family here around town, up in New York. But I really do consider a lot of these folks that I watch and listen to online part of my community as well. And so I wanted to film this episode almost as a token of gratitude and a way to shout out and introduce you to all of these folks that whose content I consume on a very regular basis. And I think, as you listen to, you're probably not going to want to match and follow all of these folks, but you'll definitely find at least a few that I think are going to be perfect for you. Most importantly in the comments, though, before I dive into this list, as I read through this list and put this together, I'm like, oh my God, all of these channels that I watch are guys. And so even like the runners up, like the folks that I was going to, I would consider like 8th, 9th, 10th, it's even more and more guys. Like, I watch a lot of males on YouTube. And so if you're watching, please leave a comment and let me know. Give me some ideas of some female creators who are doing great work on YouTube. I would love to subscribe. I would love to go comment and support their work. I would love to learn from what they do really well on YouTube as well. So just acknowledging that off the bat, this is going to be a male heavy episode. Okay. But there's tons of great content to come. So let's dive right into it. First and foremost on my list, and again, these are not in any particular order, shout out to the YouTube algorithm for shuffling stuff every single day and providing me fun, interesting stuff to watch. I've worked really hard over the years to curate an algorithm that really, I think, fits who I am, what I'm about, and what I like and don't like, right? So it's important to make sure that you maintain control of that algorithm. And for me, this list starts with the great Ryan Hall, y'all, the internet's weatherman. And I was watching Ryan Hall for multiple hours as recently as last night. We're recording this here, the middle of July. It's hard to find a creator out there these days who is more personable, more interesting, more valuable with the content that he's creating, both in recorded sessions and especially on live streams, than Ryan Hall, y'all. I have spent so many nights here in Greenville watching and listening to Ryan Hall so if you're not familiar with Ryan Hall, he is the most forward-thinking meteorologist I've ever seen. Right? It's a competitive space on YouTube. There are other creators out there that I'm sure are doing weather content. I cannot imagine there's anyone doing things better than Ryan Hall, y'all, is. He is based in his home in semi-rural Kentucky. You'll hear it in his accent and his common mispronunciations, easy for me to say, of certain towns and regions around the U.S. And his content is really focused on the United States. And mostly, I would say, across, the Tornado Alley and the Midwest, these places where you're going to see the most bad weather around the U.S. And when we think about the AI revolution and we think about how creators are successfully integrating AI into their content, no one does it better than Ryan Hall. I mean, he has actually created, I'm sure with his team, it's not all Ryan, but it seems like it's mostly Ryan. YALLBot blows my mind every single time you see YALLBot on YouTube. So YALLBot is Ryan's AI assistant that he communicates with regularly during his live streams. And his live streams, man, I talk about how I'm proud to be able to live stream throughout the day. I think Ryan and I are probably right around the same age. So I do a lot of live streaming with my nonprofit clients around the country, including for many years up the road from Ryan in Louisville, Kentucky, which I know how to pronounce Louisville. Point, Chris Strub, right? Ryan has actually created a live AI assistant called YALLBot that he can talk to on his live streams, call upon, and YALLBot actually will, basically knock on the digital door and interrupt his live streams to present both breaking news information if something important is happening, and also live analysis of the context of chats and super chats on YouTube. It is mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. So the channel is mostly Ryan, in a professional sort of, he's usually tucked in the corner of the screen. So the screen is watching different radars. He uses the WeatherWise app and uses radars from WeatherWise to show off live information. But he also carefully and purposefully integrates live content from his community, both lay people like you and me who might spot a big dark cloud off in the distance or might see, even a tornado off in the distance. But he also has built great relationships with, I would say, dozens of, or at least it feels like dozens of storm chasers around the U.S. So when there is bad weather around Ohio, Kentucky, Oklahoma, wherever there might be storms, and you certainly don't want Ryan Hall saying your town's name on his live stream, but he will bring in and integrate live streams from different creators and even use a walkie-talkie app on their phones to communicate in real time with them and have conversations with them. If you haven't seen a Ryan Hall, y'all, live stream, guys, you're really missing out. He makes you feel like you're part of the family. He's communicative with his chat. And most importantly, he is striking the perfect balance between being serious about the weather that is happening and the news that's happening, while also taking a conversational and balanced tone. If that's not enough for you, the Y'all Squad is his fundraising arm of the business that he can activate, or his team can activate, to respond to bad weather after effects and consequences. A tornado passes through a town, and the Y'all Squad will activate using funding that is raised by that audience in real time on YouTube and his other platforms that he's simulcasting to go actually address the problems that have happened in a community or a series of communities. Ryan Hall, I mean, my mind is totally blown as to how this guy has managed his team. He's got multiple assistants that work with him, that can dial in and be part of the live streams, in addition to the storm chasers, in addition to sourcing community-based content from X and from other social media platforms, in addition to dialing into traffic cameras and different storm cameras around the US. So if there's a storm happening, in Cincinnati, like, he'll zoom in on the map to Cincinnati, he'll look at community contributed content, he'll dial into the storm chasers that are passing through I-65 that way, and he can look at traffic cameras and judge and rely on Y'allbot to help him find the best cameras and stuff. It is truly and honestly the most impressive YouTube channel I've ever seen. And I say that because I do share a passion for the weather, for our changing climate. I wanted to be a meteorologist in college, and obviously that dream never came to fruition. But as someone with a passion for live streaming video and a passion for successfully integrating AI tools without being overbearing with it, I could talk for an hour about how great Ryan Hall Y'all is and how important he is to the YouTube community. And he deserves all the flowers, man. Ryan Hall Y'all, I mean, his dedication to doing great work, to waking up early, to staying up. I mean, there have been days when Ryan Hall, I wake up and he's live streaming before I wake up, and he'll continue to live stream until after I fall asleep that night. It's astonishing. It blows my mind. And through all of that, he is steady. He is charismatic. He connects with his community and his chat. He's not selfish. It's so impressive. And, I am honored to be part of that community, honored to be one of his subscribers. And if you're buying stock in a YouTuber, Ryan Hall is the top of the list, man. He's the best. It's truly uncanny how we can do all of this. Again, if you buy YouTube Premium, you're watching all this without any ad interruptions or anything. Like, you can sit and watch Ryan Hall content live on a stormy summer afternoon, evening, all day, and not, lose sleep over it. He's absolutely incredible. So, Ryan, thank you. If you're watching this, thank you for what you do. You're an inspiration. I look up to you, and I will do my best to try and integrate as many of these creative ideas that you have on your streams into my own work. It is remarkable what you've been able to build, and I can't wait to see how you continue to build that brand and that business, and help more and more people, most importantly, through the work that you do with your channel. It's top notch. Speaking of leaders in their industries, Pablo TORRE, host and creator of Pablo TORRE Finds Out, recently won a Pulitzer Prize for his podcast. I often find myself listening to PTFO first thing in the morning when I'm making breakfast. I'll put on PTFO. I do watch on YouTube. That's often helpful, if he's showing certain things on YouTube, but it's just as good, I would say, to listen if you're on Spotify or Apple Music. Pulitzer Prize winning for a reason. The real investigative journalism that Pablo TORRE is doing is going to inspire and cultivate the next generation of investigative journalists. And as a former journalist myself, as a recovering journalist, I should say myself, I've worked in newspapers for many, many years. I still work a side job on a design desk in a newspaper, and will always, always share that passion of being a great storyteller. Nobody does it better than Pablo Torre finds out, man. His unique style of being revelatory with evidence and different ideas that he's introducing to the listener by the interactions that he's having with often his in-studio guests. It's second to none. It's such a cool format, the way that he does this stuff. He's super well-spoken, and most importantly, his team does incredible true investigative journalism work, which is so needed these days. It's unbelievable how he can build these relationships with his guests. It's not gotcha journalism, but the way that he's been able to build a case, like, it's going to shake up the entire NBA. And maybe by the time this podcast comes out, there will have been an announcement as to the consequences of the Kawhi Leonard investigation. But that entire thing happened because Pablo and his team were the driving force behind it. And that's just one of many, many different threads in the sports world that Pablo has been able to pull on to build these narratives that are defining what it means to be an investigative journalist in 2026. So I can't say thank you enough to Pablo Torre and to really The Athletic for supporting the work that Pablo does with the show, and to support him having an entire team behind him to create such a really great magnetic product. Like, Pablo Torre finds out, oh, is it wonderful? And, just have loved following Pablo's career. He still plays a role as a contributor on ESPN. He's a frequent guest host on probably my favorite TV show, Pardon the Interruption. Shout out to Tony Kornheiser, Binghamton alum. So Pablo Torre finds out, just as good as it gets in 2026 in terms of deep investigative journalist work that's being done on YouTube. Third on my list, Dr. G here. I'm a clinical and forensic psychologist. Boy, whenever I see something pop up on my algorithm from Dr. G, it's an immediate click and watch. Dr. G, his real full name here, according to his website, Dr. John Paul Garrison, known on YouTube. He doesn't ever say his full name on YouTube. Known as Dr. G. Man, whoever is helping Dr. G edit and craft these videos, I would love to converse with you guys. I mean, Dr. G, if you haven't seen any of his content, he really dives into, like I said, clinical and forensic analysis of different cases that are the hot topics of conversation in the news lately. And the turnaround time for Dr. G to go in and analyze what is happening in the news is also just remarkable, right? When there's big speeches given by the president or other officials, or I don't know how much I can or really should talk about something like the Epstein files on Chris Strub Unmuted. We don't want to step on that third rail here, but I have definitely watched every single one of those videos in detail from Dr. G. His investigative work and analysis that is grounded in many, many years, I would imagine decades of body language analysis, just seems like a really genuine, down-to-earth, nice guy who knows his stuff, is very, very level-headed. He's not partisan in any way, and he's a very straight shooter. Just a huge Dr. G fan here, and he deserves to, blow up on YouTube in terms of subscriber count and, all of those vanity metrics on YouTube. Make sure you go check out Dr. G's channel. Cannot endorse it highly enough. This is great, high quality, watch this while you're eating lunch at home type of thing, and learn something. And learn some of the truth and some of the reality behind what you're seeing in the news, right? It's a really nice, creative, clever blend of investigative analysis by someone who just gives off the deepest, sincerest vibes of just being a genuinely brilliant man. So Dr. John Paul Garrison, his website is drgexplains.com, and his YouTube channel is just awesome. Seems like a real expert in his field and just comes across as a truly authentic, really cool, just brilliant dude, right? So Dr. G here. And I admire Dr. G, as I do with most of these channels here that are, posting recorded videos, right? A little different with someone like Ryan Hall is doing live stream stuff. But if you're posting recorded videos, that consistency of your brand, like when you see Dr. G, he's always wearing, I presume, not the exact same shirt. He's probably got a closet full of that same light blue collared shirt, the same shirt that you see on his website. I've always been a guy that admires consistency in branding, and man, does he do a great job, as do some of the others on this list. It's that consistency of branding, I think, that sticks with you. And when you tune in and when you hear that familiar phrase or that same, the Pablo TORRE music, or throughout this entire list, you're going to notice that theme of being really consistent with the content that they're creating. Cheers to you, Dr. G. Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. Today is date, and today we're talking about blah, blah, blah. That's the opening script for Ethan Kelly, which is his real name. Channel is Let's Talk Elections. And we're really covering a lot of the bases of who Chris Strub is here and what lights up my brain and really gets me going conversationally. I love listening to Ethan's analysis of elections on a statewide and a national scale. And as we get into the fall of 2026 here, and especially as we move into another presidential cycle, I really hope that Ethan continues to post content like this. If I have the story straight, I know he's in school, studying a lot of different stuff, but his passion for election analysis, level-headed and sharp and really data-based, finds a lot of different sources, and he really speaks as someone with many, many more years of experience under his belt than I think he actually has. It's just been such a pleasure feeling like I'm an insider on the election analysis year after year after year, because I subscribe to and really listen to and appreciate what Ethan has to say. So if elections are your thing, and especially here in South Carolina right now, elections are definitely a big thing. This election coming up in August, and I can only say so much because I actually do work with the elections board here in Greenville County, South Carolina. So I don't want to, I'm not going to get into my own personal political views here on the podcast, but when it comes to the importance of elections and understanding polling data and being able to analyze it and ground it in real life reflections and that type of thing, Ethan, for my money, is the best in the business. So shout out to the YouTube channel Let's Talk Elections. Ethan, you got a big, big fan in me here in South Carolina, man, and just love what you're doing, and really am appreciative of the analysis on a local, a state, and a national level year after year. Ethan's channel is just, it's unblemished. He's nonpartisan and just does a phenomenal job of walking you through what races you should be paying attention to, what the realistic projections are, dives into the analysis of what happened after elections. He's the best in the business, so big shout out to Ethan Kelly, the young man, brilliant, just super well-spoken young man behind Let's Talk Elections. Next on my list of my 7 favorite YouTubers. And you guys know I'm an American Airlines lover. We're really covering in this podcast all of my favorite passions. Aviation is definitely one of them. My friends and family know that I am obsessed with planning travel, aviation. I'm not big on like, I'm not like, I couldn't sit here and tell you the differences between different plane styles and stuff like that. But when it comes to interesting stories of aviation and questions and answer format, the common questions that are that passengers wonder about in aviation, nobody does it better than Captain Steeeve. Okay, Captain Steeeve is building an incredible brand as a recently forced into retirement American Airlines pilot. I just wish Captain Steeeve, I wish his representatives would bring him to Congress and allow him to testify publicly about one issue that has been definitely on the forefront of his mind and his family's mind for many years, which is this mandated retirement age of pilots in the United States. So Captain Steeeve is a freshly retired American Airlines pilot. I've never actually met him in person, despite all of my many flights loyally with American Airlines. But I know he's been to Charlotte many times. I know he's been to LaGuardia many times. Just really comes off as the nicest, kindest, most genuine, down-to-earth, and super knowledgeable guy. And so his team, which I believe his son works on his team and maybe spearheads a lot of the editing, boy, are they doing a killer job of positioning Steeeve and his knowledge in the industry as an aviation expert. I mean, if you didn't know, I couldn't name any other pilot, that works for any airline. That's the power of a personal brand that Captain Steeeve and his team have built. And I could name off multiple videos and stories that Captain Steeeve has told. Famously, he, and sadly, he kind of got his start back in 2001, being known as a pilot who almost and was supposed to be on one of the 9/11 flights out of Boston. And so there is a documentary that's well worth your watch with featuring Captain Steeeve, a little bit younger, much more serious tone than most of his videos, where he gets a chance to talk about his experience on 9/11, and how he was scheduled to fly that flight on 9/11 and got subbed out at the last minute. And, he wouldn't be here today if not for that last minute substitution. And now because thankfully his life at least was spared on 9/11, we're all blessed to learn as part of his community, that he interacts with. He creates content around his comments, common Q&A sessions, but he also does a really great job of breaking down air traffic control communications when things happen, both minor instances or funny instances, and then also when there are crashes, like when there was a fatal American Airlines crash at DCA last year. Captain Steeeve covered that comprehensively. Of course, a man of integrity, not collecting ad revenue on anything related to fatal crashes or crashes with injuries. So just a man who's really grounded in his communications, the sort of guy that I'm sure has shaken hundreds and hundreds of hands at walking through airports, taking selfies and stuff. And my only regret is that I never got to fly on a flight piloted by Captain Steeeve, at least as far as I know. Maybe I did and I just didn't know it at the time. But man, Captain Steeeve, thank you for the work that you do. Thank you for building such an awesome community. I'm honored to be part of that community as well. And just really love the work that you do in all aspects of your channel that you're building. And that's just as much a shout out to Captain Steeeve as it is to his team, his editing team, that does a phenomenal job of positioning him in a really professional and just remarkable way. Like every time I watch a Captain Steeeve video, I feel like I'm learning something new and something that I want to apply to my own channel. So C4 cheers to my buddy Captain Steeeve. And hey, American Airlines, I don't know what we're waiting for. Can we please get Captain Steeeve up to Capitol Hill and let him testify? Because I think I'm not the only viewer of Captain Steeve's channel that knows that we'd feel like we're in safe and capable hands with a pilot that has the years of experience that Captain Steeeve brings. And I support all of your efforts in bringing that legislation to our lawmakers to raise the mandated retirement age for commercial airline pilots in the U.S. It is something that is long overdue. And while I hope you're enjoying retirement, Captain Steeeve, I also would love to see you back in the pilot's chair of an American Airlines jet, maybe one that where I'm sitting a few rows back. So cheers to you, brother. All right, next on my list, let's loosen up a little bit. So now your workday is over. Maybe you're pouring yourself an adult beverage or two. This next channel that I'm going to talk about, Sir Yacht, the king of Cleveland, Ohio. Man, Sir Yacht, just, I cannot even express how much I admire your dedication to your craft. The consistency with which you edit these videos, and he often shows himself editing his own videos, in his channels. So I know that it's him powering this stuff. You know, Sir Yacht is based in Cleveland, but right now, as we're recording this, he's kicking off another 50-state challenge of his own, where he's going to be posting 50 different YouTube videos of the best sandwiches in each state. And Sir Yacht, I've got a few years on him. I'm a few years older than he is. Certainly my stomach couldn't handle something like that. But, you know, that's just the latest example of these eating challenges that Sir Yacht has really built his brand around. And I've traded a couple of messages with Sir Yacht in the past on Instagram. Maybe I'll get a follow back at some point. But, man, I truly admire what Sir Yacht is doing. He's also a runner, you know, so maybe I'll get a chance to catch him at the Cleveland Marathon one of these years. Sir Yacht, his dedication to consistently building, creatively imagining, and then executing upon these quite crazy eating challenges is, it's unique. It's beautifully done. It's masterfully edited. And it's the sort of content that if you're having a beer on a Friday night or Sunday night and you just want to relax and laugh a little bit, subscribe to Sir Yacht and go back and play some of the greatest hits. Right? You know, stuff like I only ate at Costco for 7 days, or I only ate at Long John Silver's for 5 days, or his video doing that same concept with Chick-fil-A for 6 days, right? Some of his finest work. And again, as I talked about in the beginning of this episode, it's that commitment to consistency that makes a huge difference, right? You know what you're going to get from Sir Yacht. And I love that he is ages ahead of me in terms of the quality of content that he is creating. But just as important to me is the authenticity with which he loves to connect with his audience. So, Sir Yacht, maybe you'll see this clip. Dude, bravo. I find myself laughing out loud and cringing and smiling along and laughing with all of your videos. I love the work that you're doing. It's worth it. I just hope, and this is actually one of the messages that I've sent to Sir Yacht on Instagram. I hope that you know that you don't have to do this forever. These eating challenges, your body's not going to last forever. I love that you're tackling this while you're young enough to do this and building a community and an audience. And I, you know, just don't want to mansplain from one guy to another, but from a creator who's really put his body on the line in the past to try and build an audience and a brand. Just be careful, you know, like, you're not going to be able to do this forever. I think your audience knows and respects that. But the fact that you're pounding through this and doing as many fun things as you can while you can still do it, man, dude, I love it. I love it. And I'm here for it. I'm going to support you with absolutely everything that you do. And really just, you got a forever fan in me no matter what. So would love to shake your hand or maybe even run a race with you someday. Hopefully we can make it happen. And yeah, just keep up the great work with the podcast that you do too. And, you know, of course, with your YouTube channel and the Instagram shorts, and the hard work pays off, man. You know, you deserve that appreciation and respect. And, you know, someday I hope to call you a friend too, man. Like you seem like a genuine, down to earth guy that is in this game and in this industry for all the right reasons, right? Like that's just, there's no better way to put it. Like you seem like a really great guy that I think maybe someday I'll get to at least shake your hand, you know? So appreciate you, man. And then finally here, you know, I mentioned in our intro, the stereotypical cocky bodybuilder, Houston Jones. You know, here's the thing about Houston, right? His editing style, and I think Houston does a lot of his own editing too, if I had to guess, because, you know, sometimes there's some lead time in between his videos, and he seems to take a lot of pride in his own work. Houston, kind of like Sir Yacht, strikes me as a guy that we'd be great friends if we lived in the same area or whatever. Like he's a great, super talented creator who's really authentic and down to earth with his content, with his voice, with all of the goals that he has for building his content. He's super dedicated to what he does, and his challenges and his video titles and his concepts are so extreme that you can't help but watch, you know? So you'll watch him go, really, you hate to say it, but almost like purposefully injure himself with his crew there at his home. And it is really, it's like watching a car crash almost, you know, that, again, this is not your, Houston's channel is so different than stuff like PTFO or Dr. G, where this is the sort of stuff that you want to have a beer and sit down and watch what Houston is up to this week. You know, and his channel actually used to be even more extreme. So I've been watching Houston long enough to know that some of his older, more extreme videos were actually taken down from YouTube. Like YouTube was like, this is crossing the line a little bit. Houston has since found a balance, or at least appears to have found a balance, and made peace with YouTube to be able to host his content in ways that, like, it's almost like watching Jackass or Ridiculousness, where you admire the professional that you're watching that's doing the stuff that you would never want to do on your own, right? So same thing with Sir Yacht, by the way. Same idea that, like, man, I could never do an eating challenge like that, but boy, I will love watching what this guy is doing, because he just seems so authentically dedicated to what he's doing and how he's building his business in the right way. So Houston Jones, shout out to you, man. Please don't hurt yourself. Please continue to take caution in all the things that you do. I know that you do, right? But I worry about you, as I know a lot of your viewers do. And as I get older, those worries get deeper and more sincere. You know, I'm sure, and I'm not even a parent, I'm sure a lot of the parents that are watching you are watching with a bit of like cringe and concern, but it's all in good fun, man. Houston, you're definitely one of my favorite follows on YouTube, and I appreciate the work that you do, as do all of your fans and your followers. So keep up the good work, man. So I was going to conclude this episode with, you know, a bonus few creators who didn't necessarily land in the quote unquote top 7. And this is such an inexact science. Please don't be upset at me if I know you and I didn't list you in my top 7 or whatever. And remember, I'm tasking my editors here, Max and Jeff, with making these videos SEO friendly. So know that it's a very inexact science. And of course, no one can ever truly know who the top creators are. I wanted to name a few extra creators who I also watch quite a bit. So shout out to folks like MrSantiZap with all of your amazing WWE analysis. Mason Dodd is probably my favorite fantasy football analyst. Max Fosh is a internationally renowned and well-known YouTube creator with tons of great videos already in his in his cache, the team at Jomboy Media. And then I was like, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't dive into, and of course, Levy Rosman with all of your chess analysis, right? So I'm like, oh man, I should do a bonus section here, maybe even do a separate podcast on this. And then I'm like, these are all dudes. These are all dudes, right? So know that, again, I am reiterating my call that if you either are a female creator, on the up and up, or you're a established female creator, or you watch or subscribe to great female creators, please do me a favor. Like, I need this in my life. I need more female creators to follow, to subscribe, to be a fan of, and to support. Kind of like, hopefully this podcast is demonstrating support of all of the folks that I mentioned. So shout out to each and every one of you. Thanks for listening to Chris Strub Unmuted. Support the show by clicking like and subscribe. Keep up with me on social media at Chris Strub. If you're watching on YouTube, please do me a favor and click that subscribe button. Most of you guys that watch these videos on YouTube are not subscribed, and please know that it does really mean a lot to me as a creator. I put in a lot of work, a lot of time and effort and money to create these videos for you, and clicking that subscribe button is just one simple free way that you can help me out as I continue to try and grow my brand and try and really follow in the footsteps of all of these great creators that I've outlined here in this show for you. And remember, we are all famous to a few people. I'll see you next time.